Good morning. Thanks for hanging in with us there. We had a momentary technical difficulty. So can you guys just verify that you can see and hear me? Just for giggles. Let's check on that. I'm really excited about today. Day 2. We are going to talk about how we can create more time in our calendar. Okay, good. Thanks, guys. Thanks for that feedback. How are we going to create more time in our calendar so we can reduce overwhelm and burnout? We want to break that cycle of stress. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Just a little recap from yesterday. Day 1, we learned that there's 2 gears of the nervous system, parasympathetic and sympathetic. Parasympathetic is the rest, digest, and heal, and sympathetic is the fight, flight, or freeze. We have this cute little thing called our primitive brain that is wired for survival, and it's always asking the question, am I safe? And I was telling you guys about Tantor from Tarzan, and he puts his little elephant foot in the water, and he's like, are you sure this water is sanitary? It looks questionable to me. And so even if it's like a beautiful Caribbean experience or something, our brain can perceive anything new or anything different as dangerous, as I'm not sure if this is okay. And that's a good thing, because that keeps us alive. But there's often times where we want to change. We want to be more impactful in our business, or we want to show up differently in our relationship. And we need to be able to balance our nervous system and tell our brain that we are safe so we can move forward with ease and confidence. We also know that the brain, the nervous system, is the gatekeeper of health and wealth, because it's how we can show up, it's how we can function, it's how we can heal, it's how we can help other people and train their nervous system, mirror their nervous system off of ours. So if we're good, the people around us are also going to get the benefit of our ability to regulate our nervous system, to be in that heart coherence, in that balance between the sympathetic and parasympathetic. We also used an imagination experience to create a tool to help us rewire our brain. We gave ourselves an experience with that imagination. We gave it a new belief. We wired that belief into our brain by loading all the different senses into that experience, because remember, the brain doesn't know the difference between imagination and reality. So when you imagine something happening, if you imagine your nervous system being balanced, it's actually, you're like giving yourself a cheat sheet. You're giving yourself a little preview of what's going to happen, and you're telling your brain, it's okay. It's okay to act like that. It's okay to be centered in that way. We wire the experience into our brain, and then it's stored in our body. So we're going to be talking about money tomorrow, and talking about how much of that is stored in our body, beliefs around money, and resistance to money. So I'm excited about that also. So imagination is just one way to get into the nervous system. We actually can regulate it for the idea that a different outcome is safe, right, and fun. So the other ways that we get information from our brain is our visual system, our inner ear, our vestibular system, and our proprioception system. So that is, again, like how our body is interacting with the space around us, the things around us. And today we want to learn how to finish our day with energy and enthusiasm and prevent burnout. So did you guys know that close to 50% of entrepreneurs experience burnout? And I want you to think about if you've ever experienced burnout and what that felt like in your body, and how that impacted your relationships, your business, your perception of yourself, your relationship with yourself. Because burnout tends to have a negative impact on all aspects of life. And what burnout, like, what's the definition of burn? Right? It's something's been at high temperature, a temperature that's too high for too long, and smoky. There are things going on. The structure of what you were trying to cook, or the skin you were trying to tan, is actually changing, and it's burning. So it's a prolonged exposure to something that's too much. And if you think about it, like the smoke alarm goes off, you're coughing, it's too smoky. Your brain's telling you get out of there. So what's happening is that on a nervous system level, your brain is telling you it's overwhelmed and it doesn't have enough feelings of safety to stay the course of whatever you're doing. If that's studying or, being a mom or being an entrepreneur, if you're getting burnout, it's that your brain is like, this temp is too hot. It is too hot in this kitchen. Get me out of here. So burnout is something that's so, I think we're so prone to it in our society because it's 2 feet in all the way, and we don't have a lot of societal reinforcement of true rest. And so when we sustain this pace that's backbreaking for so long, it's no wonder that our brain is like, I'm sorry, we have to stop, and I will make you stop if you don't rest on your own. So, and women, interestingly enough, are 32% more likely to experience burnout. And I think that's just because we're awesome. Our plates are full. So in general, we are, doing 18 other things besides being entrepreneurs. And we have a big heart and a full plate. So we, especially more than anybody else, more than other men, need to take responsibility to be able to train our nervous system so we can move flexibly between the fight, fight, or freeze and the rest, digest, and heal. Because when we spend too much time here, we're going down. We are going down, and it can be pretty uncomfortable. You can start to have symptoms. You can start to feel exhausted. There's really this, it's kind of like an apathy that happens. Like you're no longer passionate, or you don't really want to get out of bed in the morning. It can look like a bit of depression. It can look like just like, what used to motivate you is overwhelming, or it's threatening to your brain. So the to-do list that we have and like the joy of self-employment can be really eclipsed by this too hot in the kitchen scenario and getting burned out. And when you have 3 kids like I do, or 3 loads of laundry to do, it just piles one on top of the other, and we can get so overwhelmed. We can get burnt out easily. And so we have to take a few minutes, especially in the morning, to do some nervous system work so that we're setting ourselves up for expansion, for healing, for being able to be present in the moment and not run around with our heads cut off like a chicken, so that we can actually lead ourselves in a compassionate and out of true leadership, not like a slave driver with a whip. Our nervous systems need to be balanced to do our best work. And that is the key to taking back your energy at the end of the day, your confidence at the beginning of the day, and your ability to get stuff done more easily. So when we start from a place of contraction, we are automatically like cutting off creativity. We're cutting off flow. We're cutting off the ability for something to shift. So when we can go to this expansive place by changing our nervous system, everything flows differently. To increase your time, we have to start grounded, connected, and calm. I just want to check the comments. All right. Yeah. This is my biggest problem, being overwhelmed. I think it's most everybody's problem. And so many things flow out of that. I'm so done with being overwhelmed. I really have to like feel my body and be like, okay, this is getting too hot at this kitchen, and I need to move in a different direction. I need to stop, pause. I need to reset my nervous system so that I can be the best mom I can be, the best wife, the best dog owner, the best business person that I can be. So that's a really important thing. Hang on just a sec. I gotta my charger came out. Okay. Imminent shutdown alleviated. Sometimes that's what we need. The nervous system is plugging, like the nervous system work is like plugging back, getting yourself charged. Your computer's about to die and you got to plug back in. Thanks, real life, for that real-time example. So when you're running around stressed, when you're in that stress contraction response, not only does it not feel good, but if you are running around,
you gotta turn the camera back on.
Turn the camera back on?
Oh. No.
Oh boy. Yeah, boy. Okay.
Yeah.
Pause. Wait, it's not showing up. All right. One moment here.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay.
So now drag that back over that screen.
Thanks. This whole thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thanks. This is my husband.
Pay no
Grant.
attention.
He's the magical Wizard of Oz. I didn't know that plugging in your charger would change everything. Okay. Here we are. Back on track. Okay. So when we can start our day with training our nervous system, it changes the way that we show up in our relationships, but also our business. And if you think about yourself, like the version of yourself that's you after you did that visualization exercise yesterday, that imaginary picture of you that's totally centered, grounded, you're feeling amazing, and your nervous system is balanced. That version of you versus the stressed out, hair on fire, depleted, burnt out version, like who would you choose to do business with? Who would you choose to invest money with? Who would you choose to lead you and guide you through the process of whatever you're expert in? And this is something that I think is so necessary. And there's so much hustle around performance, and there's so much less emphasis on rest and balance and creating out of that. Not only does it turn your creativity on when you're balanced, but you get so much more done. So I think that there's also this problem because we think that rest right now is a glass of wine and Netflix, and that is teaching your body to check out. It is not teaching your body to check in. And the brain needs time to get reset. It needs time to be encouraged and feel safe. But especially if we're watching like, I don't know, what's the one, like, I can't think of the name of it, but the like really high adrenaline where there's car chases and spies and, people hiding and running and their lives are in danger. If our imagination is telling our brain something that's an experience, watching TV is certainly going to tell us an experience too. That have you ever like been sweaty watching a movie or been like, this is too emotionally exhausting for me. I like can't watch a certain level of movie because my adrenals can't take it. The cortisol gets too high. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you have a genre that you love or that you don't love because of how you feel afterwards? It's so fun to be addicted to cortisol, but sometimes it's not that helpful for moving forward in your health and getting more wealth. So there's this uncanny amount of feedback, like this is what we should be doing on our nights in, on our times when we're resting. Netflix and wine is not resting. It's checking out. And we need something different if we really want to be recovered. If we want true recovery and moving towards nervous system balance, we have to try something else. And I don't believe that our society is really supporting that. We don't get that taught in school. And you guys might be going to like a practitioner, like a naturopath or an acupuncturist or a chiropractor, and that's helpful too. But you might only go once a month or once a week. There's a lot of more hours in the day and more opportunities for our bodies to get stressed and kind of like off course. So my belief is that we have to know how to do it. We have to take responsibility to manage our nervous systems so that we can be the best at whatever we're going to be doing. And survival brain is not always going to help us write the most compelling copy or put on the best event or plug your charger back in. But when we can reset our nervous system before you go on a podcast, before you present at a meeting, before you have a summit spot, there's like a lot of good things that can happen. And it's way more fun. It's way more fun to be present and to be calm and to be able to see the other person and listen instead of like your heart's pounding in your ears so loudly that you can't even hear the question. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch high action. I feel it in my body. I need Hallmark Christmas movie types. Yes. I love Hallmark. Love mystery, but switch to comedy. Much better. Yeah, Lynn, I am with you. I'm with you. So when we can train our brain to get quiet, to get balanced and release the contraction, we can step into that expansion, and those soul directed activities come much easier, and it's much more clear about what would be in alignment for your next step. And I think that's really missing in our daily practice right now. So we talked a little bit, I mentioned it yesterday, about like the heart being really important. And I've been talking a lot about the nervous system, but when we're in heart coherence, we are in nervous system balance. And I don't know if you guys have heard of heart rate variability, HRV. If you have like a watch tracker or sleep tracker thing, you might have that already measured. Heart rate variability is measuring like the distance and the timing of the heartbeat, and a high HRV correlates. A high HRV is good. It correlates with nervous system balance. So it's interesting because the heart can measure and influence how the nervous system is getting centered and getting balanced. So I was just curious, do you guys have that measurement like on you? Because we're going to do something, and if you're wearing my husband has a Whoop. I think Apple Watch has that too. But there's ways that you can track your HRV, and when you do these nervous system balancing, you'll see that number change. You'll see it go up in real time, which I think is so cool. So it's great confirmation that you're doing something that your body likes. Your nervous system is settling, just like that external experience, like a yawn or a sigh when we're doing some nervous system balancing work, or if internally you have more well-being, that can help you just track what's happening on the inside. We are also going to do something where I'm going to teach you guys, you can actually track externally what's happening internally through your range of motion. So we talked about that pond of ice, and how your range of motion would change. It would get stiff. You would get really contracted as your brain moves into stress response, versus if you're feeling relaxed, you move differently. So just wherever you're watching right now, I want you to do a few movements with your body, because we're going to use that as a baseline. And we're going to retest after we do this nervous system exercise. So you can just kind of move your neck around, check your shoulders, if you're going to use your shoulder, keep your elbow locked so you can get actually good information about how your shoulder's moving. So we're going to just find the baseline for that. Then we're going to do this activity, and it's going to help us get into our heart space. It's going to stimulate our brain to be like light up a lot of different places. And when we light up a lot of different places, that's giving more information to the brain about the brain, which it really likes. And then it's like, okay, everybody's on board, everybody's at work, everyone's at their station. We are all systems go. And when we can get into the heart, when we can get into nervous system balance and heart coherence, our heart energy that is measurable is 5,000 times stronger than our brain. So when we get into stress response, we come out of our heart, and sometimes we're not even in our head. Sometimes we're totally disassociated. But when we can get into heart coherence, we can come and be in our heart space, which it usually feels really good and really like powerful, because there's 5,000 times more electromagnetic activity units there than from the brain. So when we can operate from the heart, it's way more powerful. And I think it's really cool to look at our language. The English language has a lot of expressions about that. So when we're being truly sincere, when we're being truly empathetic, when we are really accessing the best part of our humanity, we have all these expressions that talk about the heart, like, she's so heartfelt, or from the bottom of my heart, or heartbroken. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool how our language actually reflects that true power that we have when our nervous system is balanced. And then the other thing is, we're going to do some things with the hands, and the hands have so many different joints in them. And if this is the end of a joint and this is the end of a joint, in between, there's all these receptor sites that send new information to the brain. And this would fall under the category of how the brain gets information. We did visual, vestibular, and proprioceptive. So when we're moving our hands like this is sending new signals to the brain, and it's getting it from that proprioceptive container. So that's really exciting that we can play with a way that the brain gets information. And if you think about little kids, they want to touch everything. They want to touch everything. And a lot of times they'll put it in their mouth, because the mouth gives the brain a lot of information too. But my son, my 14-year-old, we still kind of say this every once in a while. When he was a toddler, if he wanted to do something, he would go like this. He'd be like, hold it, Caden, hold it. Because he wanted to turn. He wanted to experience the new item or whatever in his environment, so his brain could understand it. So that's a way that we can draw in information, is to touch and hold and use our hands to stimulate our brain. Okay, so there's a few different steps to this exercise that we're doing. So we did we found our baseline with our range of motion, and then we are going to just open and close our hands like this. Just getting some movement through there, getting some stimulation. And then we're going to fold our fingers and wave them back. Fold our fingers, wave them back. Good. Kind of like a little finger roller coaster. And then we're going to go the opposite way. So we're going to fold them down and peel them back. Fold down and peel them back. So you're getting different movements throughout your finger joints. And then I want you to move your pinkies towards you. You're scooping really lovely spring flowers into your lap. That sounds nice. And you might feel a stretch throughout your wrists here. And that is those different joints in your wrists. They're called carpal bones, and they send a lot of information to your brain. So then we're going to go the opposite direction with that. And I want you to focus on pushing your index fingers away from you. Okay. So that should feel a little different. It's getting at it from another side, another aspect. Okay. And then I want you to start rubbing your hands together until they're quite warm. And I like to kind of go in between my fingers, like wash them a little bit. And when you have a good amount of heat, you're going to take an inhale, and you're going to put your hot little hands on your heart and exhale. Okay. And then I want you to take a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And your inhale is going to be 2 counts, like 1, 2. And then your exhale is going to be 4 counts. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want you to do that 3 times. Inhale, 1, 2. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. In through the nose, out through the mouth. I could do this all day long. I love it. So we're doing a few different things. We're giving our brain new information through our hands. We're physically anchoring through our heart, and our breath is also giving our brains information that we don't have to be in the stress response. So I want you to just think about how you feel right now. If you feel any different, you can write it in the chat. I also want you to check your range of motion again and see if that feels any smoother, if you have any more range of motion, because that's an external marker for if your nervous system's feeling more safe. So you can check your neck again. That's definitely, woo. So my nervous system really likes that. And that's something that I use really, really frequently, because it's a quick way that I can get back into heart coherence, that I can balance my nervous system, give my brain some more information, and get going on my day coming from a more powerful place. So put in the chat, you guys, how you're feeling after doing that. On the inside, we have internal ways to get information, and then we have external ways to get information. So just put in the chat what you're feeling. And if you're on the replay, let me know too, because I love to track people's, like, if we're on the right track with this particular drill. Sometimes you don't have a change because that's not the right drill for you, and that's okay. We're still on the hunt for something that would be perfect for you. I have more range of motion, feeling better, feeling much calmer. Good. Love it. More range of motion, relaxed, better, more grounded. Good. Okay. Great. So if training our nervous system is the answer, like, what do we do? What now? If we know that we need to have a more balanced nervous system, we know we need to have more heart coherence and operate out of there to connect to our loved ones, to connect to our clients, to shorten the distance between health and wealth coming into your life. Like, what next, right? So there's a lot of nervous system training programs that are just focused on like doing it with mindset, like just focusing on something. And I think those can be really helpful for people. I don't find that that's helpful for everybody. The way that I approach it is through this thing called the HOPE process. And I have a program called Inner Restoration that I'd love to tell you about. And I use the HOPE process to combine nervous system training with some other things so that we can have more agency and more life, more choices to do the things that we need to do while we're alive. And I think it's so important to have this information because we don't get it from school. We don't get it from TV. We don't get it from anywhere else. So we have to make the choice to equip ourselves to have this information so that we can be the best person that we can be in the world to make the impact and the income that we're wanting to do. I was thinking about, like, the brain not having enough information. And what if somebody, just like, imagine this, what if somebody said, oh my gosh, I got you a trip, and they handed you a blank airplane ticket and there's nothing on it. It just says the day. So I think at first I'd be like, yes, awesome, thank you. And then my brain would start to be like, wait, where are we going? What should I pack? Please, God, let there be a bathing suit. I'm not packing this. And like, how many days should I take off? Do I need to rent a car? Do I need to rent a house? Like there's all these questions, right? You might have something really good happening, but your brain doesn't have enough information. And as you are going along in like the what if, or what do I need to do? What else? As your brain is searching for those answers, you might start to go into contraction mode. You might start to go into stress mode. You might feel like tighter muscles, or your stomach kind of gets clenched. Your breathing might get more shallow. So when the brain goes into that stress response, it switches over and it cascades down our physiology. It's like a domino. It's the first domino. The nervous system is the first domino, but it affects all of our organs. It affects our physiology. And I think that when you can get the information that you need to share with your organs, that changes your immune system, that changes your ability to create better hormones, that changes your ability to detox and eliminate. So it has all these wonderful effects on our bodies. And then the cleaner we are, the better we feel, the better we can do. So we have this hope process. And I have a little thing to show you because I like visual. If it's too many words for you, just close your eyes. Okay. So the hope process looks like this. The H stands for harmonizing the nervous system, which you guys have been experiencing the last few days. Feels so good. And you're really rewiring your brain. You're building that pathway to move flexibly between that stress response and the rest, digest, and heal. Remember, we need both. We can't eradicate the stress response, and we don't want to because that's keeping us alive. But we want to be able to move flexibly between the two and not get stuck. I'll tell you a story in a little bit about that, about using those quick nervous system resets for something stressful. The O stands for optimizing your organs, because we need to help the body to upgrade the physiology. And we're going to talk about this tomorrow too. It totally ties in with money and our ability and our capacity to hold things. So our organs in this day and age are full. They're quite full. And a lot of people talk about detox. But what we really need to be talking about is elimination. We need to have the pathways open to get things out so that we can detox in a better way and upgrade our capacity. The P is for paving new pathways. And we need to decrease our symptoms. We need to decrease our resistance. And when we find these new pathways and we trod them, it's like that we were talking about yesterday, that 6-lane highway to stress versus like that little deer trail. We're going to be taking that deer trail in the inner restoration program and ingraining it more into your brain. We're going to be trotting that area so it becomes second nature. It's not like a once in a lifetime opportunity or like a blip on your radar. It's something that is an open pathway of choice. And then we are going to, with the E, we're going to elevate the identity. And this is something that's so interesting about healing. It's not a straight line. Nervous system work gets deep, and you're rewiring a lot of emotions and a lot of beliefs, and a lot of uncertainty can arise with that because you don't necessarily know what's next. And I've found that when people start to feel better, they actually can have a lot of things come to the surface, and it can be an interesting time where you need a lot of support and like a reminder of the big picture. And when you have something chronic, like migraines, for example, and then you're not having them anymore, your identity changes and you're trying to replace or upgrade or do something different so that you can detach from that idea of like, I'm Allison, I get migraines. You know, that's kind of something that you've accepted, and now you don't have to accept it, but it's weird. It's like a weird wiggle room that people don't talk about, where it's when you start to feel better, it can also be challenging. So we work with that as well. So for the H, for harmonizing the nervous system, we have different drills that we teach in the inner restoration program, different visual drills, vestibular drills, and a lot of proprioceptive drills to help upgrade your nervous system. And then there's a fourth category, which is interoceptive, like working on nerves that you can't touch through different positions and tapping and different like vibrations, that you can change your vagus nerve. For example, a lot of people are talking about the vagus nerve, and there's a lot of different ways to stimulate it, but the vagus nerve really is so helpful to bring you back into that rest, digest, and heal in a quick and effective way. So learning all these different things is equipping you to harmonize your nervous system, and they're fast. Like, it only takes seconds to be able to access this information. And what's helpful is not everything is going to be good for you. You're going to find like a couple that are amazing for you. And so you can whip those out before you go to an interview, before you walk into a hospital room, before you do something that might be challenging. So it's really cool to have these high payoff drills that influence your nervous system and bring you relief. Like, a lot of these can bring you out of pain, out of, I mentioned migraines earlier, and one of my clients, she used to get migraines all the time. Now, sometimes light triggers them. And so we talked about shopping, grocery shopping the other day. So she'll like pull over her cart in Costco. If she's come in already stressed and her nervous system's already stressed, that's a familiar output. That nervous system, like contraction mode, will go right into a migraine for her if she hasn't been doing her other work. So she'll just pull over her cart, do her quick nervous system reset, and then she can go along with her day. She doesn't have to be out of the game for days recovering from her migraine. She doesn't have to lose business. She doesn't have to cancel clients. She doesn't have to not get food for her family at the grocery store. So it's really cool that you can use these in a quick way. And yeah, my body needs hope. I know, it's so good. And then for optimizing their organs, there are amazing techniques to get the organ communication better. When there's disease or dysfunction, there's also a lack of communication. So we're going to reconnect your communication in your organs. And there's also a bunch of these profound techniques to release spasm in the body, release spasm in the organs. And one thing that I think is really special about this program is we also work on circulation. There's not a lot of modalities that directly work on relaxing the main artery in your body, but there's so much protection that goes around your circulation. Like, if you, when I see newborns, when I work on them as clients, they often will have compression or protection around their heart. And if you think about it, like, the heart is numero uno, like, you need that to stay alive. So the body protects there first, because compression and protection is safety to the body. So we open up the circulation and we get better ability for your blood to carry nutrients, to exchange oxygen, so you don't have to have those areas of pain or discomfort. And then in the optimizing your organs, also we are in this process of doing a monthly distance healing, where I'm clearing stuff on you. I'm clearing stuff on your organs, your physiology. I'm changing the amount of bacteria and viral load that you have, so that your organs can like get ahead. There's so many toxins and chemicals and stuff built up. We're exposed to 700,000 to 2 million toxins per day. So that builds up. For P, we have pave new pathways. So we use the anatomic visualization. We do embodied meditations. We have a live call once a month where I walk you through an emotion release. And emotions can be charged. They can take up space in your body. Your cellular memory, like, it can change the way that the cells function. So when we're optimizing the organs and we're elevating your identity and we're getting rid of some emotional blocks, it's pretty incredible how much more ease you can feel in your life. We talked about how if you fell on the ice, or if your brain was afraid of the ice, you would avoid those kinds of activities. If someone invited you to go ice skating, you'd be like, I'm good, thanks, go have fun, I'll see you later. Like we will opt out of life because we might have an emotional experience and our brain might feel threatened by that. So when we can release those, we can move forward and participate and be impactful in a much different way. We also have, when you join in restoration, it's an 8-month program. You get a welcome box full of all kinds of goodies to help elevate your health and calm your nervous system. And then throughout the program, you're going to be going through 12 different healing foundations. And each healing foundation takes kind of a theme or an area of the body, and it's instructing you, teaching you how to get those in your own body, to get those techniques for yourself. And these are recorded so you can watch them at any time. Some people like to do like 10 minutes a day. Some people like to do they're usually about an hour and a half. So it's really nice because you can get it, pause it, rewind it, watch it as many times as you want. And when we get that education, then the power becomes ours. Our nervous system regulation is on our hands. And then we have the agency and the choices to move forward in a different way. And then E is elevating the identity. So we have a community group where we're talking, people can ask questions. We're on Voxer, which is like a walkie-talkie app. And you have access to me as your like health coach for the next 8 months. And then you also have the support of other people. And it's really cool because somebody will ask a question and then another person will be like, that I didn't even think to verbalize that question, but I had that question too. And the way that you asked it made me feel like so much more like just brought it to my mind. And I really appreciate that. Or you make relationships and friendships with the people as well. And I love that. And people who are at the beginning of the program, people who are at the end of the program, when someone asks a question, it's really cool because you hear it a different way when your nervous system is more balanced. So when you start the program, you're still working on nervous system balance. When you end the program, you can hear things a different way. You learn things a different way. And it's really cool when people ask a question. It always is amazing. So we do different things in the healing lab, which is every other week. And we're answering questions. We're doing group things. We're talking about boundaries. We're doing embodied meditations. We're getting the support that you need to continue to go on this path of this nervous system training and optimizing your organs and elevating your identity in this group way so that you can get the support that you need. And then, there's check-ins. I try and keep you accountable as much as I can because life gets crazy, and when we get stressed, we forget about new things. So we got to come back and keep after it. And then you also get, when you join the Inner Restoration program, you also get all of the master classes that I've done. So there are different resources of, from headaches to pelvic issues. Like you can kind of pick and choose some of the things that you want to delve into further. If it's not being taught like in that moment, you can kind of veer off and go get to it. Okay, so the inner restoration components are really important to have the nervous system safety, to build that nervous system safety. You get your high payoff drills, where that's something that we work on together, where you are getting the drills that help. They're kind of like rescues. You're about to do something, or you've just been through something that's stressful. So you want to bring your nervous system back to center, and we want to heal your organs. Okay. And let's see how. So I want to go back to I have some stories that I want to share. Lynn says the inner restoration program can be very powerful, life-changing. I continue to watch the videos and use the resources. Yeah. Lynn's one of my faves. So when we can harmonize our nervous system, And we can have those high payoff drills, and that might be a visual drill for you, that might be a proprioceptive drill for you, but you're going to learn what your body likes. And what's cool is you can use that in any situation, right? When you are stressed. So I might have told some of you this story before, but it's been about a year since the town that I live in, we had a really bad fire that came through and destroyed 1,000 homes, and we had to evacuate. And so we're packing up, we're hurrying. And then I was driving a car with the kids and the animals, and my husband was driving the car with like all my medical equipment and computers and stuff. So we're stressed, right? This is a stressful situation. Our home is in danger. I am literally in the car evacuating, doing these high payoff drills, and I'm leading my children in to do these high payoff drills. And what's interesting about that is when we have those tools, we can use them. I mean, it's not like it takes a lot of equipment, or it usually is just your own two hands. And what was interesting about that is the trauma, the collective trauma that Louisville, Colorado experienced through that fire. It was different for me. It was different for the kids because our cells didn't get stuck in that frozen, like fight, flight, or freeze. We could move through the trauma and it didn't get stored in our body in the same way that it did for other people. And, it just was a year mark, and we went to like not a memorial, but you know what I mean? like talking about it and hearing people's stories of what happened and how their homes, what they lost, but also how the community supported them. And it was just really interesting to me how it felt in my body and how it felt like watching my kids listen to, versus some of the other families that have been through the same thing. We didn't lose our home, thankfully, and I feel so grateful for that. But there's this, when danger comes and you have the tools to tell your brain, like, it's okay now, like you can be out of danger. And there's this organ release technique that we have called shock, and we want to get out of shock. And that's one of the first things that we do. It's like our cells get so frozen and locked in that emotional place, and our nervous system needs to be able to move more flexibly, but that shock is like frozen in our bodies. And I definitely did shock on myself as well after the fire and on the kids. And it's this incredible tools to have for your life, to have for your family. I had another friend who, she had been doing this stuff. She came to me because she had a heart surgery, and then a year later, or a couple of years later, I think she had a stroke. So I was seeing her for that and helping her with her circulation, and she got pregnant, which was unexpected and like really hard on her circulation. So she is, this was a couple years ago, right? So COVID was definitely a thing, and she had to go to the hospital to be monitored because she was a high risk. So they had her take a test before, and it came back positive. So what that meant for her is she was in there. People had like hazmat suits. She couldn't see anybody's face. She was in labor. She had the baby. They took the baby from her because she was positive and because the baby needed attention. So the baby goes to the NICU. Just think about this. If you're a mom, like you've just had a baby, you didn't get to hold the baby. You didn't get to see the baby. You have no information. The baby's gone. Her husband's not able to be with her because she tested positive, and she's alone. She's totally alone. Her heart rate is skyrocketing. They are asking her to take all this medication that she doesn't want to take. And her brain is in like the ultimate stress response, right? She can't see her baby. She can't have any support. If anyone comes in to take her vitals, she can't see their face. It was so stressful. So I was working with her, and I was reminding her of some of the tools that she had, and I gave her a few that helped her calm down her nervous system, and that affected her organs, right? So immediately her heart rate would go back to normal. And she, I think, had like 6 days before she could see her baby because it was like a false positive test because she tested negative right afterwards. So she was, had so much anger, so much stress. So she used these tools to like keep her sane. She was like about to go crazy and about to like rip all her tubes out and run out of the hospital. She then used these tools to help her like release the trauma of the situation. And then she turned around, and she's an entrepreneur. She's a event planner, and she got a huge contract, and we were working together and talking about how she could use these tools to help her in her business. And she turned around and she got a contract that was gigantic, and she started making 6 times what she had ever made. So it's pretty incredible the way that you can apply tools to different situations in different areas of your life to help you get through, to help you thrive, to help you succeed. Let's see, the organ elimination. It's also really important to optimize your organs, because if you have a chronic infection like mold, like Lyme, like if you have MTHFR, that's something that helps you be able to, or it doesn't help you detox. It makes it harder for you to detox. And the organ releases help to get that party started in your body. And you can do it without having to take supplements. You can do it from like physically changing the way that the organs are in their space. So if you're in a room and the door is closed, like you're just in there. If you're in a room and you can open the door, you can get out what's in there. You can go in and vacuum, you can tidy. So that is what these organ releases allow you to do. And you can get better communication within the organ systems. A lot of pain can come from organs, actually. 80% of back pain, they say, comes from the pelvic organs. And I had a client who was, their family loves to go on dive trips. So she was on a dive trip, and she is a fitness instructor. She's super, super strong, but her back is a little bit vulnerable, and it like goes out every once in a while, and she won't be able to move for days. She has to cancel everything. So she's on a dive trip, and she feels her back go out. And she's like, like, I am on a dive trip. I don't want to do this right now. So she uses her tools, and she does all the things. She reconnects those organs. She gets better drainage. The inflammation goes away in record time. She is able to hop back in the dives and have an awesome time. And she was so proud of herself and so empowered that she was able to get out of that situation without me, without a chiropractor, without anybody. And she didn't have to cancel anything. It was her body was able to heal when it got the right resources. When we are trying to create new pathways, sometimes there's this habitual experience or symptom that we're experiencing. And I also had a client, Jennifer. She was in the program, and she was in the program because her daughter was actually really, really ill, and she was the main caretaker, and she was so stressed, and she was having a really hard time managing her health and her ability to be present in this situation. So that's how she came to the restoration program. But she was having panic attacks where she could not breathe like 3 times an hour, 2 to 3 times an hour. And this had been going on for months. And within a month of being in the restoration program, her brain felt safer. Her nervous system was more balanced, so that she was not only having them less, she wasn't having them at all. She was able to breathe normally and show up for her daughter in a different way. So this is like, I love it because she didn't have to go on medication. She didn't have to, get a respirator. She also didn't have to take time out of where she was needed. And she could use these tools to regulate her nervous system so that she could be more present and be more impactful for her family. Yeah. So I love it. I love doing the whole process with people and teaching, especially women, how to thrive, how to have these tools for themselves, because it's so powerful to be able to influence your nervous system, the top domino, the big kahuna, the gatekeeper. When we can do that, there's just so much richness that flows to the rest of our bodies into the way that we can be present to others, the way that we can lead, the way that we can lead our team, the way we can do business in a different way. So I love it, you guys. I love it. Okay, so if you want to pop over here, this is where you can sign up for the Inner Restoration Program. It is 8 months long. It is $4,500, or there's a payment plan. And the cool thing about it is there's recorded aspects and there's live elements as well. When you graduate from the program, you keep all the recorded elements. Like Lynn was saying, she still goes back and listens to the Healing Foundations. You have the live calls recorded that you can listen to. And there's so much support through the group chat, through Voxer. It's really beautiful. I am so excited for you to transform. And, Tony Robbins, I was just listening to a little video that I saw that he did about New Year's resolutions. And he said, change happens when your should becomes a must. Like we think, yeah, I should balance my nervous system. I should get those tools. But the cool thing is that when you switch that should to a must, like I must do this. This is the time where I need to take control, where I need to take ownership of my own nervous system and how it affects every area of my life. That's when you can really thrive. And I love that quote. A rising tide lifts all boats. And the tide is our nervous system, right? And the boats are our business, our family, our health symptoms. Like we're going to elevate all these areas of our life when we can implement the hope process into our lives. So I'm really excited for you guys to join me in that. There's a bonus for people who are ready to go. They're like, let's do this. I must do this. You get a bonus sign up. If you sign up today, that you get a special one-on-one session with me. And the first 3 people that sign up also get a special, it's a special little thing that I wore. It's a harmony necklace. It helps with harmonizing your nervous system and helps you to block EMF, like electromagnetic frequencies that can disrupt our own body's physiologic functions. So the first 3 people get one of those in their welcome box too. So there's a $500 bonus if you sign up today. And then for what it looks like practically, because sometimes people are like, sounds great, I don't have time. Because the drills are so quick, it really is only going to take you 10 minutes to do them a few times a day. Like I recommend starting doing them 3 times a day. And then there's other things that you can do with no extra time. Like you can integrate it into your day with stuff you're doing already. So time is not usually a fallback. It's not usually an excuse that is real. It might be your brain being like, it sounds new. It sounds kind of threatening. I'm not sure if I should do it. But it's pretty quick. In the videos, the recorded classes, you're kind of like supposed to do one of those every 2 weeks. So that is an hour and a half that you can spread out however you would like. So it's not too much. It's just enough to get you going and keep you accountable, keep you going in the right direction. For the day 2 homework, I want you guys to think about what you already have and put it in the homework thread. What are the tools in your toolbox that help you to rest, that help you to reset and balance your nervous system? Because you have two new ones after today and yesterday. You have imagination and you have the proprioceptive drill of moving your hands and breathing and connecting with your heart. And then tomorrow, we're going to be back here at 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and we're going to be talking about money because we all want more health and wealth, right? So day 3 is the unknown secret weapon to break your income ceiling. Yes, please. I would like that. And we're going to start talking about that at 9. So have an awesome day, you guys, and let me know if you have any questions. If you go to that inrestoration.com/invitation, there's also an option for you to book a call with me if you want to talk about like, this sounds great, but what would that look like for me individually? We can also do that. So have a wonderful day. I can't wait to read your homework answers, and toodaloo.